Welcome back everyone to Pontos Fathom Hobbies. This is season 14 setup round of Joan of Arc. We are setting up for the Song of Fierbois scenario. So we'll fast forward through the board setup, get our miniatures on the board, and then we'll do the rest of the setup, walk through the scenario, and get started. So thanks for watching. Okay, so we're finishing up for season 14. We're going to be playing the Sword of Fierbois. So let's get I'll get the rest of the components on board, and we can read through the summary of this and look at the players. So first up, we've got put aside the 6 rounds. So we've got 2 4 rounds and 4 6 rounds by the instructions. So we'll get these out there, and we won't need the rest of the. We can move these here. Next up, we won't need the rest of the timing cards. As far as we've got the tactical and the mythic decks. We're going to not use the tactical deck this round. We're going to use the mythic. So the legend deck will be shuffled up. We'll put the legend deck also here. And then we're going to also have our for our War Council phase, we'll have this deck shuffled in right here. We'll add in our die for the there, and we will put the tactical cards back in the box. Okay, so next up here, let's go through the characters. Or maybe we'll go through the scenario first. We'll talk about Sword of Fierbois. It's a French player versus the English. So after our huge apocalypse campaign, we're going back to the basic game of Joan of Arc. And we're going to finish up some of these battles here. So it says, Joan and her companions So first of all, it says, the Sword of Fierbois, February 13th, 1428, Saint Catherine de Fierbois. Joan and her companions, Bertrand du Pouligny and Jean de Metz, undertake a perilous journey to the court at Chinon. They stop over at the church of Saint Catherine de Fierbois, a small pilgrimage site east of Chinon and south of Tours, known for its miracles. Joan decides to stop to pray, but the country is at war, and English raiders cross the Loire to plunder the Dauphin's land. Okay, so the scenario starts out with, you see here's the English forces of John de la Pole here, and then here you've got the French players. You've got Joan and Jean and Bertrand coming up from the north. You've got the peasants in the village with a priest Theobald and a blacksmith, and then a number of units of peasants. Here you've got that church that we talked about. We also have a couple of special rules in this. It says they are not civilians. The priest and the blacksmith are French units. They can't change sides. And you do not do the discussion with these. So in this scenario, we treat them as units just like Joan or Bertrand or Jean. So those are the same. But there's also, inside the village, we will place a couple of these question tokens. And an English unit located inside the church can perform a bonus action to take the chest tokens and therefore receive some loot. So we're going to place one inside of the church and one inside of this unit per the instructions. We're also going to put the rally points. We'll get an English rally point here. In this space, and then we'll get a French rally point here by this stone, this field. Okay. We also have a shrine on the board. The shrine also in play there, and you've got the priest guarding that. It says the French player can rally 1 peasant during the camp phase without rolling the doom dice. And then there's ghosts that can come into play, and we'll place some tokens on the board for the ghost roll. We'll read about that in a little bit. We also have the possibility of seeing ghostly manifestations in angelic apparition. So we've got the ghost and the angels in reserve up at the top. I'll kind of show the minis of these. And we'll kind of go through all the minis too as we introduce the different levels of the game. So let's go into the player characters we've got. So we've already talked about the ghost and the angel. They come in play during the mechanic. We'll start off with the French players. Obviously we have Joan of Arc, Bertrand, and Jean. Their minis are here. Here's Joan. We'll show you guys Joan. Here's the Joan of Arc mini. I'll do a flyby right after the setup so you guys can see everybody. But there's Joan, and here's what are the other minis? So they'll be coming in from the north there. We'll place these cards by Joan here. We'll place this reroll here. Place this reroll. She also has on her side the 6 peasants, the priest, and the blacksmith. So we can show you the blacksmith here. A simple blacksmith. And the priest. So kind of place all of these on the Joan seat. She also starts out with a reserve token here, activation token, reactivation. And then on the Jean de Paul, on the English side, we have Jean here. He is portrayed by this miniature. Put his cards here. Starts over here with, we've got warhounds, we've got mounted bowmen, warhounds and mounted bowmen. Like I said, we've got pikemen and normal bowmen as well, and sergeants at arms. So you can check all these out. And we'll place all these bowmen, warhounds, mounted bowmen, pikemen, and sergeants at arms. Place these down here. English player also starts out with a token and an experience token. So we get a power token and an experience token here. And they also start out with a power token, experience token. They also start out with a, that was an interrupt token. This is a reactivation token, so yeah. Okay. Let me go ahead and place some experience and some health tokens up here on the board. Just place them up here just to have a few ready to go. Start to play. And we'll grab a few. We'll grab a token to be our turn marker. We'll grab this sun to be our turn marker. It's a 6-round game. Let's get these set up. Just place these right here for now. I'll separate those later off camera. And that's just about going to do it. So, victory conditions. The English player wins if they collect 6 loot points before the end of the 6th round. If not, the French player is victorious. The English player gains 1 loot point for each of the following. Each time a fire token is placed on a building. If a unit takes hold of the village chest in the house or the pilgrim's chest in the church. For each French character disrupted or destroyed. For each destroyed or disrupted French side's civilian. And when they take the sword of Fierbois. So the sword of Fierbois is placed where? Okay, so we've got some tokens. Okay, so I basically have to put a token. So I've got to use these, I've got to find those in here. So I'll go find those extra tokens. I will place them on the board. There's a couple of board placement areas you can see right here. I'll place 1, 2, 3, and those will be the mystery tokens. 1 sword and 2 blanks. So that's where you can reveal the Sword of Fierbois. If Joan of Arc reveals the Sword of Fierbois, she is immediately upgraded to level 2. It does not have to pay any upkeep for the rest of the game. So it's sort of like there's a magical sword in this one. There's the hail of arrows. There's indestructible buildings. The buildings are indestructible in this one. There's no civilians. And there's the possibility of, if Joan of Arc is in the church, the French player can spend resources to gain additional units like the ghostly manifestation, and the ghost will appear at the shrine, or the angelic apparition deployed to the sky hex. So we can have angels interacting on our behalf. So let me do a quick fly through of this, and then we will jump into round number 1. So guys, thanks for watching the setup. I'll kind of do a quick fly over here. And we've got the bowmen, men-at-arms, mounted bowmen, the warhounds, pikemen for the English forces. Then you can see the French forces are behind this village here. We've got the priest here. You've got our blacksmith. We've got our token inside the church. We've got these reserve angelic and forces, and then we've got Joan and company. So that's going to do it for the game. Guys, we'll see you in round number 1. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.